This week on the Escape Key project, it's a fire extinguisher, and I thought that this was something, there it is, the final article, that you might find in the escape room of any escape room for safety reasons. But first, of course, I had to buy a fire extinguisher. This one cost me £9 on eBay, and there's the label that I thought I could recreate but then remove certain letters from. In fact, 25 letters to make it a bit more mysterious. So I stripped all the text from the main label and then worked out which letters I could remove, and then I started designing it. So I made a very, very simple mock-up using rough measurements and then measured things out correctly so it absolutely matched the actual label, and created these icons, which were quite fun to recreate. I normally would find a label maker or an icon maker that would create those labels, but I couldn't find anything with pull lever on carbon dioxide extinguisher. So I've made that icon I'm really pleased with. And here's me just removing every single letter from the alphabet apart from one. And whilst you're watching this, I wonder if you can work out which letter I have actually kept away. So it doesn't feature at all on this label, so I can't remove it, and hopefully this is a process of elimination. This is an omit. Here's the final label with the correct measurements, the correct dimensions of everything compared to the actual label. And then with my actual fire extinguisher, the real one, I had to give it a good old clean because it was absolutely filthy. This is probably why it was just £9. And once I'd done that, I gave it an alcohol wipe because I thought that would be the best surface for my glue to go on. And I wanted to make those corners absolutely sharp so that it's really, really clear that it was a label. And I've got a brilliant little gadget that cuts perfect corners. But there are three sizes of corner, so you've got a very, very small corner. This is the medium corner, which was exactly the right size. It's quite hard to measure corners, really. And a large corner. And then I put the corners on this copy of the label that I had made. So I made one that was plain and one that was glossy. And I thought the glossy one worked better because it matched the aesthetic of the original label. The paper one would have looked like paper. And then I'm using Pritt Stick. Now some people might object to that, but I was having to stick paper to metal. And lots of other glues would actually let the ink bleed through the paper because it would make it damp. So actually Pritt Stick works incredibly well. It's incredibly strong. I just have to be careful of the corners, which is why I was really, really generous with the corners. Here's me sticking the label on over the top of the original one. I apologise, Chub. And I called my company Omit because, of course, lots of the letters are omitted from my label here. So as a result, you end up with this label that's clearly got something wrong with it, and hopefully should be fairly obvious what you've got to do with it, which is to find the letters that are missing, collect as many as you can, and try and remember which letters you've got, and you'll end up with one letter which isn't there, and that's your key letter. There's the final label, and I'm really pleased with how this low energy one came out. Let me know what you would have changed if you would have made this fire extinguisher puzzle.